I've criticized it over and over again. But make no mistake, even the Kurds in this community will agree that what is happening to the Palestinians is even worse than that. There's no reason to fucking do the Olympics of like who's worse, but you are out of your fucking mind, okay? This does not mean I'm giving permission or agreeing with the Turkish military.
If they were killing hundreds of preteen children with body shots.
Are you fucking serious? He made a fucking video pretending to get blown up by a bomb to make fun of Palestinians. In what fucking world would this guy have good takes? Didn't you say you thought these people were bad? And the only reason I know is because I didn't get pushed by the shit. Left us on Twitter reposting this bullshit shit, responding to it is disgusting. Who made a video? Who made a video pretending to be blown up by a bomb? I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I think you forget that like I might not have the same level of investment with like online content creators that you do. Okay? It's so racist and disingenuous. You are American as well, both in citizenship, but also you are paying taxes that fund this genocide, so you should care about it. Yeah, also, I can't fucking go back to Turkey. So that's the other part of this for all of my many criticisms of the Turkish government. So, yeah, lol, imagine not knowing the takes of these loser YouTubers. Exactly. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know that shit? I don't know. I don't know what like all the latest and greatest of genocide defense that these guys have fucking engaged with. I don't really care.
By any means. And it would also be quite obvious anyway, looking through a sniper scope, that you are looking at a child and not a militant. To precisely aim for the head, line up a shot, take
Does this video have TOS?
Shot and hit it, not just once, but hundreds of times, indicates a level of intent that can only reasonably be described as systematic. But what is Israel's lawyer's argument for why he thinks that despite that overwhelming evidence, it's actually not so obvious? Well...
But I don't think that's Israeli policy, is to snipe kids for no reason. To snipe toddlers, but okay.
You heard right. Just that he thinks Israel wouldn't do it. That's all. That's all he needs. They wouldn't do it. I don't believe they would do it. Evidence be damned. They are not doing it. I said so. Case closed. There's a clear...
So how does he... I would love to find out what he thinks about like why the New York Times wrote this article then. Like what is the... It's just a unfortunate accident like that has played itself over, you know, hundreds of times. Like it doesn't have to be official policy, okay? That's not how this works. When you create a killing field, it doesn't matter. You just let loose whatever the fuck, whatever kind of violent behavior that your occupying forces are engaging in. That's how you arrive at like triple tapping a fucking humanitarian aid convoy that is there engaging in deconfliction with the Israeli government at that time. That's what happened with World Central Kitchen, okay? It's not a fucking oopsie. All right? It's not. It is disordered deliberately in order to have some shred of plausible deniability, I guess.
Implication there, which should be obvious to anyone who is familiar with the rhetoric of pro-Israel propagandists, that also implying that they would do that intentionally is anti-Semitic. And this sort of claim is very oft-repeated. For example, in this tweet by another pro-Israel propagandist who was very adamant that Israel would simply never kill a child intentionally, it's impossible. They've just committed tens of thousands of unfortunate accidents, systematically, in a clear pattern over the course of a year. Or this abhorrent Guardian article where another pro-Israel propagandist explicitly argues that the media citing factual information about Israel murdering children is a form of anti-Semitic blood libel. Now, Israel's lawyer isn't quite as explicit as that guy was, but the implication is there. He knows what he's doing. The others who do the same thing know what they're doing. The best argument that they have is that in spite of all the evidence that makes it clear as day that they are in fact doing this, they wouldn't do it. After all, they're Jewish. Jewish people can't commit atrocities like everyone else. How dare you imply otherwise? Aside from massacring children, women, men, the elderly, babies, pretty much anyone they can get their hands on, Israel has also been making their defenders' jobs quite a bit harder by just plain making shit up all the time. Whether it's elaborate, obviously fake 3D renderings of Hamas command centers under a hospital, which they then use to justify multiple massacres committed at that hospital, or making ludicrous claims like Palestinians massacring 40 babies, the job of the self-appointed lawyers of Israel becomes harder with every single claim made. Let's refer back to that one again to see how he dealt with the 40 beheaded babies claim.
Again, this is why it's like the 40 beheaded babies. That hoax was not an Israeli, I think there's a better way to put it. The 40 beheaded babies was not actually an Israeli government hoax. It wasn't. It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few fucking nutters. And then the people who really made it last were people who were anti-Israel. They were the ones who spread that. They're the ones who...
Dog, Joe Biden didn't... Am I crazy? What? Joe Biden, the anti-Israeli nutter. Look alive, Jack. Israel. The Zionist entity must be dismantled piece by piece. Look alive. The Mujahideen. That's the way I see myself. One struggle, united. That's why I'm spreading this pro-Israeli propaganda. Because I'm anti-Israel down the line. I've seen the videos. We beat Medicare.
To have kept that alive.
So his strategy here is not to blame that propaganda on the Israelis who made it up and spread it, but rather to blame the people who are against Israel's genocide for calling them out on it and not allowing them to forget it. The first part of this strategy here is not a very advanced one. It's known as lying. He lies about this idea that this was just an error made by one reporter, which was not spread by the Israeli state or other Israeli propagandists, nor anyone of any significance. It was merely mostly picked up on by opponents of Israel, solely by them, which is apparently a bad thing for them to do because, I don't know, apparently it's wrong to point out that Israel is inventing abhorrent, obviously fake, genocide-justifying propaganda over and over again because who knows why? He doesn't explain it. Here's the thing, though. This was spread by the State of Israel. It was spread by Eilon Levy, their official spokesman at the time. It was spread all over official Israeli social media. It was spread by Netanyahu's personal spokesperson.
When you listed the unconscionable atrocities that took place in that kibbutz, you did say that babies had been decapitated. Can I take that as confirmation then? Because that currently is being reported as reported action. That has actually happened, has it?
Toddlers, babies, I can tell you.
Yeah, these guys are all anti-Israeli, actually. Like, that's what it is. These guys are all... Bad empanada, you don't understand. You don't understand. These are anti-Israeli nutters.
They, some of them, heads were cut off. This is what we're hearing from from soldiers.
Yeah, they're just like deep undercover, I think.
On the ground, and yes, they cut off heads. They cut off heads.
Which was then seen by US President Joe Biden, who then repeated the claim uncritically in a press conference.
I've been doing this a long time. I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children.
Yeah, that was so... Dude, oh my God. Post-truth world, no more truth, no more facts. Fuck it, YOLO. Okay? Fuck it, YOLO. Here is more liberals post-truth world. Over 700 Starlink satellites have been taken out of orbit. 13.7 million votes missing. Millions received message that there wasn't a ballot that was counted. The vote count in VA, New Jersey, New York, blah, 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 is skewed, but Trump doesn't have more votes. Harris has less voters. Okay? Boom. Joey Bonarino. Banano. The real Joey Banano. 55,000 likes. You got nominated? What did I get nominated for? For Streamer Awards? Hey, congratulations. Thank you. It's an honor to be nominated. What am I nominated for? For the Streamer Awards, just chatting? Nice. Hell yeah. Respect. Thank you. Y'all better vote for me. Congratulated yourself? Yeah. All right, let's continue.
I never thought I'd ever. Anyway.
Biden, the most powerful politician in the world, the leader of the state that is Israel's prime backer and accomplice, continued to repeat that claim for months afterwards. So apparently this claim was just made by one reporter and, just sort of was a fart in the wind, according to this guy. When in actual reality, it was spread precisely by the Israeli state itself, and their key ally, enabler, and supporter, the President of the United States of America. So the strategy of Israel's lawyer here was firstly just to lie, and then also to build on top of that lie by doing some impossibly stupid mental gymnastics to somehow spin globalist-tier propaganda, specifically spread by Israel to justify its genocide, on the people who are against the genocide. And I gotta say, it doesn't work at all. It is just kind of self-evidently ludicrous how these people are twisting themselves into knots to justify the unjustifiable. To willingly not just embarrass yourself in public like this, but to do it for the purposes of justifying genocide. I don't think there is an adjective that is strong enough to describe that level of both idiocy and depravity. The Israelis, their supporters, and their American allies spread an obvious lie about fake dead Israeli babies to justify their massacre of thousands of very real Palestinian babies. And we have people like this not talking about those actually real massacred Palestinian babies, but rather how Israeli propaganda about fake massacred Israeli babies is actually to blame on those who are against Israel's genocide. The pure dismissiveness that this guy displays when it comes to Palestinians being massacred, children, babies being killed, it's just inhuman. But if you thought that was bad, how about we move on to one of Lonabox's best friends and frequent collaborators, the streamer Destiny. Topically, he had some comments to make about the self-evidently absurd 40 beheaded babies propaganda, in which he just uncritically accepted Israeli propaganda entirely at its word.
The beheaded baby one, it was mostly factually correct, right? There were 40 dead babies, at least one was decapitated.
I'm sorry, what? Once again, I will repeat my position. You can be correct every single time, but if you are against American foreign policy, they will never let you live it down. They will say you're a terrorist. Okay? They will say you are a terrorist. But you can be wrong literally every single day. You can be wrong every single day. And you will not get punished for it at all. I'm shocked. Like my lack of interest in like covering the dumb shit that this loser has been saying is kind of bad. Is bad. It's a mistake, I think. I'm glad that Bad Empanada has taken on the task.
They weren't all 40 decapitated, right? But so it's mostly correct, not 40 beheaded babies, just 40 dead babies with a few of their heads cut off, right?
So much for it only being hung on to by those dastardly anti-genocide people, huh?
It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few fucking nutters.
Now let's compare the standard of evidence that Destiny has for accepting ridiculous claims made by Israelis with the standard of evidence that he applies to literal video evidence of Palestinians being executed right before his eyes by the Israeli military. Now,
I don't think the beheaded babies thing is worth talking about anymore. What matters is the actual harm that's being done to the Palestinians right now. I know it might be fun to be right, but like I don't think it's super important right now. Are you fucking stupid? This is not just about the beheaded baby shit. This is about an anatomy of defending genocide and how people get away with defending genocide. None of this is fun, by the way.
Now, I can't show the context for the clip that he is reacting to here for fear of potentially getting this video taken down by YouTube.
They're so used to being in their own little echo chambers. The second the spotlight is on them, it just speaks for itself. Yeah, it is. I think this is the video that got Mike banned. Be careful. Yeah, what he said while watching the video is what it got him banned, not the contents of the video.
For showing someone literally dying. But I will describe it to you, and there will be a link in the description. A reporter for the British news outlet ITV approaches a group of people in an Israeli-declared safe zone for civilians. These people are holding a white flag and waving it in order to make it clear to any Israeli troops that they are civilians. The reporter interviews a few of them. They explain that they are evacuating because, as is clear from the billowing smoke and gunshots which can be heard in the background, the supposed safe zone is no longer safe. Having interviewed the men, the interviewer turns around and leaves. Suddenly, Israeli troops begin firing on this group, and they hit one of them, killing him instantly. He is pulled aside behind cover by his companions, where they are joined by other civilians who are also evacuating. Amidst their screams and cries as they realize that he is dead, the Israeli soldiers begin to fire on them again. To reiterate, again, this was a group of civilians, including children, who were waving white flags. They had done everything that Israel had told them to do. They were in an Israeli-declared safe area, and they were in the process of evacuating to a different safe area. So what did Destiny think about this? Well,
the interview complete, our cameraman walked away.
So like what? So he is interviewing the guy who's about to go do some shit to get himself killed, basically. That's what's going to happen. We know from this point, that's what's going to happen. So he walks away, gets back a little bit, and then he sets up behind this thing, right? Is this concealment, I guess? Not cover, concealment, right? Because I think the tank's over here. So now he can capture the footage right here. He sees the guys walking, knowing that they're about to get shot, because that's what's going to happen. And then eventually they get shot and everything is, this is it. It's like act 1, 2, and 3. It's like all here. Now this guy is down. He's dead. These guys are like...
and fatally wounded.
They're not even like... They're not even running. They're not even like cowering and running away and screaming in fear. There's like, okay, well, they did it. We got our shots. Okay, is this guy done? Oh, shit. Well, okay. Well, we brought the white flag, so we can put that over the bleeding part, assuming he got shot and is actually right.
Flag on
and then
chest.
This guy, what, is this guy running back to grab the wife?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
And then, like, what does this mean? The wife has heard what happened. Like, bro, this is crazy. I'm sorry. The tracking live movement shot of the lady running up to her dead husband? Like, what is this?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
Somebody went back and told her, right? The 5 martyrs that walked forward, you know, your husband was the unlucky guy. He drew the short stick today, so come forward, cry for us on camera. Do you think the guy intentionally wanted to get killed? No, I don't think he wanted to die. I don't think they were thinking they were going to die, but they probably were hoping to get shot at, or maybe, so you're saying the woman was acting? I don't think the woman was acting. She probably was sincerely sad. Her husband got fucking killed. But I think they were farming TikTok clips. I mean, remember, these people, actually, yeah, like have suicide bombers. So it's not that big of a stretch to imagine that they would be willing to get shot. However, now, I haven't gone down this road because this is way more, it would require me to make a lot more assumptions. But it's also possible he didn't get shot, right? Now, do we know the name of...
Dude, this is... I think Destiny is sincerely one of the worst human beings I've ever encountered. And what makes matters even crazier right now is that I'm certain that his brigaders are in the chat, actively farming the chat to probably try and clip something to be like, see, Hasan's community wants to like do harm to Destiny or something, devoid of the context of what he is saying here, in a way that they will try to propagandize a position that makes, in their minds, Destiny look good. This is insane. Like, this statement is so insane. He called your community terrorist supporters? I know, which is wild. He is a genocide supporter, not even a denier at that point, just a genocide supporter. I mean, we already know that. This is the classic clip. This is when he
thinks the right move.
Arrived at his position ahead of time before looking at all the Wikipedia pages that would then, in his mind, defend Israel's genocide of Palestinians.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. Like, it sounds really shitty, but like, I think that Israel should just draw its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but like, that's about where I'm at. I don't know,
You just think the Palestine should just pack up and Native American the fuck out of there?
The problem is that it seems like there is a hugely general hostility to Jewish people across really the entire world, but definitely the Middle East. So the problem is that as you weaken Israel's like ability for Jewish people to live there, it seems like there is because there's a lot of different organizations across the Middle East that are highly invested in the destruction of Israel. So that's like a really rough thing too. So it seems like if Israel is forced to make concessions to Palestinians, it threatens Jewish people's ability to have a homeland. And so I don't know. It's really shit. Truthfully, the answer is like there's no good answer.
What do you think's the right move?
Oh, this was before he. This is before this. This corresponds to that early position that he took. He took such a strong position that he had to defend it, you know?
The guy, is he actually dead? Do we even know if that's his wife? These are a whole bunch of questions that would be valid. Now, if I was way more on the pro-Zionist side, I would be asking those questions. Who is this guy? Do we even know if he's actually fucking dead? Like, we don't actually see the wound. It seems like they don't have any problem showing anything else. Like, why just the white flag so that it can look all bloody? Like, show us the actual gunshot. You have no problem showing other violence, right? What Pallywood means is that you're capturing intentional video footage to sell a certain narrative about what's going on, basically. So Pallywood might be, this, right? So the idea is that like 4 innocent civilians are like walking up and you just want like a clip here of the IDF shooting them for no reason because they're civilians with white flags. And you kind of ignore the fact that like, okay, well, they're in a battle zone in an area they were told to evacuate from, and they're going back to try to release somebody that...
They're in a safe zone. They have white flags. Israel should not have shot them. That's incredible. That is, I mean, Pallywood, for those of you who don't know, is the unimaginably racist genocide denial theory that like all Palestinians that are killed deliberately either lie and they're not actually killed at all, or they deliberately try to get themselves killed in front of cameras so that people will hate Israel. Okay? And the quickest solution to that, which seemingly no defender of Israel ever arrives at, is don't fucking kill them. I mean, Pallywood ranges from the dead children that are on camera are actually toys. They're not real babies. It's fake. To a number of different psychotic conspiracies, which the Israeli government itself has routinely repeated, by the way.
Was captured, like that's like Pallywood, I think. You're essentially provoking the enemy to take what is largely a justified action.
Yeah, largely a justified action. Provoking the enemy for largely a justified action. You know, being Palestinian within the crosshairs of Israel is a death sentence. You should have just not been there. You should have personally self-exiled. Provoking the enemy in a safe zone while being unarmed and waving a white flag around your children.
And then trying to say that it's like indiscriminate civilian killing. It's like a setup. It's not fake, but they're doing it to themselves. You're dehumanizing yourself. You're suiciding and sacrificing your civilian population.
Did you get that? Did you digest what was just said there? Taking it in? The Palestinian civilians were asking for it. By trying to make a...
I even think that it's funny because like he moves on to his community trolling because like that one pro-Palestinian protester, there was a fan of mine came up to me and was like, Arnar, why are you drinking Karg? Like, that's it. That's the limit. That's the engagement that and the care and consideration Destiny has and his community has for this ongoing genocide, which is fun memes, drama, shitting on whoever the fuck you think is against your position after just doing genocide denial. Like he just straightforwardly was like, yeah, these people are fucking suiciding themselves. And then he moves on and he's like, look at how fucking stupid this guy is. I need you to understand, because like he can just snap back from that to this because he doesn't give a fuck. Okay? Because he doesn't give a fuck.
Themselves. Well, you're dehumanizing yourself. You're suiciding and sacrificing your civilian population.
You digest what was just said there, taking it in. The Palestinian civilians were asking for it. By trying to make a crossing in an officially Israeli...
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of right-wingers say horrifying shit on a regular basis, but I feel like there are probably right-wing commentators that wouldn't even go this fucking far. You know what I mean? There are plenty who do. And it's insane that Destiny is like, no, I'm a liberal. Like, I love Joe Biden. I'm a liberal. I love Kamala Harris. Why won't the DNC invite me? Why won't the Democratic Party invite me to the DNC? I'm a Democrat who, you know, is pro Kyle Rittenhouse, pro fucking white supremacists, killing Black Lives Matter protesters, anti-trans. Yeah.
declared safe zone for civilians, no less. They are responsible for their own murder. It's their fault for walking around with a white flag while being so Palestinian in the vision of an Israeli soldier. Much like Lonabox, his very first instinct when he is confronted with overwhelming evidence of the state which he unconditionally supports committing...
Apparently he was actually invited to the DNC, not sure how true though. Okay.
war crimes. When said evidence renders outright denial impossible, the first thing that comes to mind for him is to blame the victims for their own deaths. He literally, unironically...
Is he not ironically exactly what the Dem Party leaned into? Brother, I don't think you understand. Saying the quiet part out loud like this is offensive. There is a point of permissible bigotry. And when you go beyond it, even your own supporters will say, ew, that's gross. That's my point. Okay? Now, not everyone pays attention to everything that's going on all the fucking time, but when you got a fucking dude who's like defending ethical CP and shit, okay, in his mind, or saying stuff like this, for example, okay?
Pedo yesterday.
So, some kids are really hot.
They dug in deep.
Oh.
But they were trying to call you a pedo yesterday.
So, some kids are really hot.
They dug in deep.
Oh.
Like, I know he's being sarcastic here, you know? I get it. I understand. But it's so fucking gross. Do you understand?
It happened in the same day.
Like, you only do this if you want to be fucking edgy and you're a dark humor enjoyer.
Hey, that I was getting accused of wanting to kill babies, like wanting to snipe them or whatever. Fucking Israel.
Some babies are really annoying.
But it's like, how is it that we're both aligned then? If like you want to fucking rape the kids and I want to kill them?
I'm a necrophiliac pedophile.
That's the holy fucking sentence.
After you kill them, I have my way with them.
Yeah, dark edgy jokes, man. Dark edgy jokes. Like, it's over. You are a unimaginably toxic person. Okay? That's it. You only feel comfortable saying this shit, even as a fucking joke. Okay? You only feel comfortable saying this shit, even as a goddamn joke, if you are so echo chamber, so hugboxed into believing that like everyone around you or everyone in the normal world that will encounter some of your sentiment is just as edgy as you are. It's all fucking Groyper losers or former 4chan losers who are now, you know, still doing the same shit, but now they say they're liberals, okay?
makes the argument that Palestinians are essentially like baiting Israeli soldiers by walking provocatively with a white flag.
A community who labels streamer distancing themselves as bridge burning and does character assassinations via manifestos for their slimy subreddit and creating Google Drives of out-of-context clips. They're a bunch of sweaty losers. I know.
Into killing them so that they can film it to do what he calls farming TikTok clips. This is the level of depravity, of desperation that the genocide propagandists are at. Israel's actions are so obvious, so clear, so well evidenced, so indefensible that there are frequently times like these where the best defense they can muster is, well, what did you expect, man? It's not like you can expect an Israeli soldier to resist an opportunity to just murder a Palestinian civilian. You were kind of asking for it there. And they aren't even cognitive of how what they're saying is a denouncement of themselves, of Israel, of everything they're trying to defend. The Goebbels level Israeli genocide propaganda that they are utilizing to attempt to justify their genocide, that's the fault of Palestinians and their supporters for even talking about it.
People who were anti-Israel, they were the ones who spread that.
Palestinian civilians being murdered by Israel on video in broad daylight while waving white flags in an Israeli-declared safe zone, that's their fault too.
I think they were farming TikTok clips.
Now, genocide justification usually has levels to it. It has like a checklist. First, it's blatant lies, attempting to sow doubt about the facts. You know, we can't really know what's going on, right? There's the fog of war. It's very unclear, though in this case, it's very much not unclear. The evidence is totally overwhelming. You see it on your social media feed every single day. They nonetheless have to act like the evidence is not clear, have to muddy the waters because it's the best that they can manage. To begin with, it's either that or just outright denying that it happened. The evidence is fake. It's Hollywood, as our friend Destiny so graciously called it. It's a Hamas conspiracy to delegitimize Israel, stuff like that. Then once that argument inevitably falls over, they move on to what Lonerbox tried in that first clip. Okay, so it did happen, but there is an accident or there is some other explanation for it. Then when that doesn't work out, they move on to claiming, okay, so it wasn't an accident and maybe there isn't a good explanation for it, but that's not representative.
Why is this guy elevated to any sort of level whatsoever when he says loser, 4chan basement dweller type shit? He presents himself as like a liberal pretty well in debate situations. And in short TikTok clips, like short TikTok style clips, he can appear normal. But the reason why he has an audience is because